Are you looking at buying an off-the-plan or new build property? In this video, we're going to be discussing the pros and the cons of buying new builds and why I've been an established property investor. My name's Luke. I talk all things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom here on the channel. Make sure you drop a like on this video, subscribe down below, and let's have a chat about new build properties. So there are definitely some pros to buying new. And one of those things is you get a depreciation report. So if you're buying a new build for a property investment, you can maximize the depreciation benefits, which is a tax outcome, and reduce your taxable income. What this means over a 10 or 15 year horizon is you can claim tax deductions each year for the reduction in the building value of your investment property. Now, this is a tax outcome. This is sometimes sold by gurus and YouTubers and people discussing properties, especially developers, as a great reason to invest in property. But in my opinion, this is just a tax outcome. The property is new and you need to factor this in as a bonus, but you shouldn't be relying on the depreciation for the investment to make sense. So one of the pros is that you do get tax depreciation on those new builds, and it is pretty simple and straightforward. So you can claim that decreasing value over time against your taxable income. Another great thing about buying a new build is the grants and concessions that are in place for first-time buyers. So you probably won't be able to use a tax depreciation schedule if you're buying as an owner-occupier, but if you decide to sign up for an off-the-plan and buy a new build property, as an owner-occupier, you will be able to get access to grants. You might be able to get access to federal grants, state grants, stamp duty concessions, and this compares to established properties which don't necessarily have all these first home builder grants. Now, in my opinion, sometimes these grants are soaked up in the selling price from the developers and the builders. So at the end of the day, to get your turnkey property, they might say, oh yeah, we can do it for $350,000. But once you add your extras, you rejig your floor plan a little bit, and you get the final price from the builder, you could be looking at more of a $400,000 or $500,000 price in this market, and that could squeeze any value from that first home builder grant. So you do get access to those extra grants and concessions, which is great. So if you're looking to take advantage of that and you want to get your first step on the property ladder, then maybe buying a new build property is the right decision for you. The third big pro of buying off the plan and buying a new build is that you get to customize the property to suit the block and to suit the area. Now, sometimes people get these cookie cutter homes where they're all on 350 square meter lots and they just knock out the same home next to each other one by one. But if you can make the property have a bit of a twist, rejig the floor plan to suit the property and to suit the lot, then you can create a bit of value and create a bit of demand from that home by making it a little bit different. If it's your own home, you can also choose the fixtures and fittings that you like, so you can pay for those upgrades and have the floor plan to suit your lifestyle. So I'm not 100% against new builds. This might shock a few people. For some people, buying a new build property and building off the plan suits their situation, suits their financials, and suits their goals and wants. But for me, as an investor and a homeowner, I've always bought in the established market, and this is really because of the cons of buying a new build. The only time I would potentially look at a new build is if I was doing a knockdown rebuild, so I was buying in an established suburb and rebuilding a brand new home on that property. But in the case of a lot of these developments, the first biggest con is the land size. So typically you're buying these developments 30, 40, 50 kilometers from a major CBD, and they're usually in these new housing estates. Yes, they're going to have a new Woolies and a new Coles and maybe some new shops go in there. And people are going to say, look at all the growth that's happening in this area. There is growth happening in these locations and shops and things popping up, but this is more from a growth from the development point of view rather than growth from the demand. So we want to have limited supply in an area. And one of the concerns is that lots more homes are going to be built in these locations. So you might buy an off the plan property and you might buy it and stay stage 2B, but there could be 5 stages in that development. So you can imagine there's stage 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, and so on. And so the land developer will continue to open up new homes and new lots in that location, which will soak up the demand and create more supply. And so the first big con is the continued land development and supply that's available in these new build areas. This leads me into point number 2, which is actually the land size that you purchase. Like I said earlier, a lot of these new builds are around that 350 to 400 square meters at best. I've seen some crazy small lot sizes between 250 to 300 square meters in recent times because builders are looking to squeeze these homes onto smaller lots to mean that they can get more lots on their development side and actually sell more homes, which means more profits for the builder and the developer in that case. So be wary that if you're buying a 250, 300, even 350 towards 400 square meters, that if you're buying in these locations that are a long way from the working district, that are a long way from most of the amenities, the big stadiums like Suncorp and things like that, the big draw cards for the bulk of the population, and you're buying in these outer suburbs on a small block, that you really have a limited land in that location. You ideally, if you're buying this far from the city, would want to be holding a 600 square meter at a minimum, and ideally an 800 square meter or 1,000 square meter block. So you're really compromising on the land value and the land size if you're buying a 300, 350 square meter block a long way from the major city centers. The third big con I have on my list to weigh up these pros and cons is actually time and money. So you might sign a contract for a new build and commit to that purchase, but it could take 1, 2, 3 years for the property to be constructed and finally finished. And you don't necessarily have a unique product. If it's a cookie cutter development and off the plan build, most of the homes in the area are going to be similar layouts, similar floor plans, especially if they're done by the same builder. So you've used a lot of time and a lot of your capital to go towards this property. And if you're buying for your own home, then don't stress, you're buying for yourself. It's not necessarily an investment decision, but if you've made this purchase purely as an investment decision and you're looking to grow your asset base and grow your wealth, my opinion is that you could use that time and use that money towards buying an established property today and manufacturing value. For me, our strategy has pushed away from new builds, unless it's that knockdown rebuild strategy or you're actually the developer yourself, and buying these established properties over the new builds. The reason is you can buy that property straight away, like we were saying that time, and you can buy it in a superior location. You can also then add value to that established property and then refinance and go again. Those established properties have character, they have appeal. So say you could buy a Queenslander, that's going to appeal to a lot of potential buyers down the track, and that's going to add value to the home. Whereas if you're buying something that's more cookie cutter, even though it's low maintenance and you get tax depreciation benefits, it's not necessarily going to have as much owner-occupier appeal as a more character home or a home that's in a better location. So I'm not 100% against new build properties, but I thought it would be interesting to discuss some of the pros and some of the negatives when it comes to buying a new build property. Now, my focus, like I said, is on established properties. So if you're looking for a Brisbane buyer's agent to help you buy an established property in the greater Brisbane market, then book in a free strategy session with myself at purposeproperty.com.au. Otherwise, drop a like on this video, subscribe down below, and click this video over here for more things real estate, renovating, and financial freedom. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.